Let's talk about how to graph a linear inequality when we actually just have a single variable, not an inequality that has both an x and a y. So in the first example, we have the inequality x is less than 3. Now this is no different than graphing your equation x equals 3, except you have to keep in mind the type of line that you're going to be creating. Now, since this is a less than symbol, and there's no line underneath, that means we are going to be drawing a dashed line. Now, anytime you have just the variable x, you always are going to end up with a vertical line. So we want to move to 3 on the x-axis here, and we're going to draw a dashed line that passes through the 3 on the x-axis. Now, again, we always need to include shading when it is in a linear equality that we're graphing. So we're going to take our pencil, put it on that boundary line, and since this is a less than symbol, what do you think would be less than? Do you think it would be everything to the left of that line? Or do you think everything to the right of that line would be less than? So in this case, everything to the left of that line is going to be less than. So again, check a point. Let's use the point. How about -2, 3? Now the x value of that point is -2, so that's what we're going to substitute in to our inequality here. So is -2 less than 3? And yes, it is. So we did shade the correct side of that line. Now in the second example, we have y is greater than or equal to -2. So again, you want to look at that inequality symbol to determine the type of line that you're going to be drawing. In this case, since it has the line underneath, we are going to be creating a solid line. Now anytime you just have the variable of y, you always end up with a horizontal line. So since it says y is greater than or equal to -2, we want to find the -2 on the y-axis, which is here, and we want to create a solid line that goes through the -2 on the y-axis, like so. And then the last step for this is again to figure out where you're going to shade. So since this is a greater than or equal to symbol, putting our pencil on that boundary line, is everything higher or above that line going to be greater than, or is everything below that line going to be greater than? So everything above that line represents all the solutions or the values of y that are going to be greater than -2. And again, we want to make sure that we're always checking by picking a point. So let's use the point 4, 4. Now the y value of this ordered pair is 4, so that's what we're going to substitute in to our inequality. And 4 is in fact greater than or equal to -2, so we did shade the correct side of that line.